Okay, great. So my name is Christianne. We're going to go talk in more depth about ourselves. But my name is Christianne, as I mentioned earlier, and we also have Gloria as a co-presenter. And today we're going to talk about how to choose your major.
Yes. So for me, my name is Gloria, and I am originally from China. I was raised and born in China, southern part of China called Chengdu. And later on, after I graduated from college, I moved to Monterey in California, and I have been living here for 2 years now. And I majored in TLN, which is Translation Localization Management at Middlebury Institute of International Studies at Monterey. I traveled to a lot of different places, for example, China, Indonesia, like lots of countries in Southeast Asia, Japan, Korea, India, and I have also worked in these four countries, China, Indonesia, India, and in the United States as well. Yeah, that's a little bit about me.
And my name is Christianne, as I mentioned before, and as I said earlier as well, I was born just outside of Manila, Philippines, but I was raised in the US and I've lived in California pretty much all my life. When I graduated from high school, I flew to the other side of the country to attend New York University, where I'm now majoring in psychology. In my free time, I love to write poetry and anything really creative writing. Um, I love to listen to music and I love to play music on the guitar. And like Gloria as well, I love to learn different languages. I also really enjoy traveling. I studied abroad in London and in Sydney. So, if you're ever interested to talk about that, just feel free to reach out to us.
Yeah. And that's for our introduction. Next, for today's agenda, first we'll talk about our personal experiences, like how do we choose our major. And then second, we'll share with you guys the method for choosing a major. And then we'll leave time for some Q&As. And first for our personal experience, how and why we decide on our major. Like before I start, maybe like since we just have one guest here, Mackenzie, would you mind like just share with us? You can put your answers in the chat box. Like share with us like what you think, like what are soft skills and what are hard skills, and any examples, and which one do you prefer to have? And Christine, you can like participate in this too. Like you can share us your answers as well.
Definitely. I think so. I can go ahead and just say out loud like my answer to this. A soft skill, I think, is something that's more transferable to different situations, and hard skills are more can be more specific to certain fields. Um, and an example of both could be a soft skill, for instance, can be time management, and a hard skill can be like something like web development and like working with a specific program. Um, and I think that they're both very helpful. So I think it's a bit hard for me to pick, but I think soft skills are really helpful, especially because you can use them in different fields.
Yeah, I definitely agree. How about your what you think, Mackenzie? I cannot see my chat box for some reason here.
Yep, no, that's great. Are you able to see her response, Gloria?
No, can you read it out? Sorry, I cannot
Sure.
see the chat box on my screen.
Definitely. Mackenzie says that soft skills are specific and hard skills aren't not specific, I believe, and hard skills are specific to a situation, I believe.
Yes, that's exactly. I love both of your answers, and that's exactly like what I'm gonna share and talk about. And just like for me personally, I want to have both. because I think both are very useful. But like for specific like soft skills and hard skills, like for example, soft skills we can have languages like different, be able to speak different languages and be able to communicate well, like persuade others, like persuasion. And then when like if we have good soft skills, we can like work as a team to achieve a lot of things. At the same time, like manage your time very well and be a leader in a team, or like you are able to adapt to different cultures, to different food, or like to make friends easily when you travel or study abroad, and as well as creativities. Of course, those are just like some of the examples, and we have more, but you can get a sense. And for hard skills, we can, like, as you guys mentioned, it's in a specific field. So we can say like for computer science, computer technology, for example, programming, you can write Java code or you can write JavaScript, C++, those fields, and data analysis, like data mining, presentation, database management. And then might be very good at like project management and also like marketing. For example, you can use a lot of content management systems, for example, WordPress, you can build websites with that, or project management softwares like Trello, you can track all your projects. So it's very specific, like, and it's like related to one program or one app, things like that. And for me, like I mentioned before, I personally want to have both. So that's why I chose the major now, translation and localization management. I majored in Indonesian language and culture studies in undergrad, and that's very like soft skill oriented. So we learn to speak the language and learn to get to know more about Indonesian culture, and also like we did lots of presentation debate to practice our soft skills. But then after I graduated from college, I feel like, well, it seems I learned all the soft skills, but I need to learn some hard skills to help me along the way as well. But I don't want to give up the translation, or I don't want to give up the language side of my major. So I chose this major, translation and localization management. It's just for me, it's just a perfect combination of soft skill and hard skill. But what is translation and localization management? You guys might just heard of translation, but you might be confused about localization. So in the beginning, like first of all, what we learned in school is how to manage the translation and how to make translation be more efficient. For example, if you're a big company, you have like 10,000 or 100,000 words to translate every day. So you need to hire lots of linguists or programmers to make the things be more efficient. So we'll be able to handle those huge projects. And at the same time, we're learning like programming languages as well. For example, JavaScript, HTML, C++, C sharp, things like that. And be more specific, we can see the examples here. So you guys probably know the game, The Sims. I love those games. I love that game when I was like very young. I played that game a lot. And in Chinese, this game is 模拟人生. So the translation from English version to Chinese version is localization instead of translation, because there are, so translation is part of that. But when you have just text, you need to put that text into the code, like into the code that use that app and that game. So that's the localization is combined with translation and the coding. At the same time, when you localizing, translating this game, you need to consider what's the deep culture difference between America, English speaking world, and Chinese speaking world. So that's another perspective that adds on to the localization. For example, here for Starbucks, the logo on the left side is the Starbucks logo in America. But when it localized into the Arabic speaking countries, the logo changed from the mermaid to just the sea logo. Why? That's because the culture. Because in Arabic speaking countries, women need to wear hijab and they cannot show their skins or bodies to others. That's why. But on the mermaid side, like she didn't wear clothes or she didn't wear hijab. So when Starbucks localized into Arabic speaking countries, they changed their logo into another logo instead of like a mermaid here. So that's why, like, that's about my major, and that's also about like why I chose this major, because I want to have both. Yeah, that's my story. And Christine, do you want to share yours?
Yes, definitely. But thank you so much, Gloria. I always am so impressed whenever you describe your major and describe the difference between translation and localization. It's really cool to learn about. So before I go into my experience in choosing my major, I want to distinguish the difference between a degree and a major, because they can get mixed up sometimes, or people have a difficult time distinguishing the two. So a degree is what is awarded to you when you complete your school's graduation requirements. Your degree will indicate three things. First, your level of study. Second, the type of curricula or program that you studied. And third, your major concentration. So for instance, if you decide to study accounting in college or in university, when you graduate, your degree might be a bachelor in science in accounting. Or depending on the curricular or program you in, it could be a Bachelor of Arts in accounting. So the difference between these two degrees is the type of program or curricula that you study. So a BS program focuses on math and science, whereas a BA focuses on the arts and humanities. Of course, the kind of program that you get a degree in is dependent on the availability of courses and programs at your college or university. Now, a major is the specific area of study you go to school for, and is otherwise known as your major concentration. So when you hear people saying that they're going to major in accounting, you can assume that their degree will be either a Bachelor of Science in Accounting or Bachelor of Arts in Accounting. So essentially, your major is what you focus on while completing your degree. And in order to satisfy your major requirements, you will need to complete your major core classes, which may include introduction classes and laboratories, as well as any additional major program requirements, such as electives. And electives tend to be quite fun and very specific to certain areas. Now, in order to be eligible to graduate in general, you need to successfully complete all of the basic graduation requirements of your school, which may include a minimum GPA, college core curriculum like basic math or writing classes, and a language requirement, at least in the US. For instance, some schools might require that you demonstrate fluency in another language other than English. So you can either take a language exemption test or take language classes while in college or university. You also need to complete your major core classes and any additional major program requirements. So that's it for this slide. I know it's a lot of information, but it will be helpful hopefully in the long run. So now we're going to have another type in your answer activity. So if you could please just address these questions, and it's okay if you don't know the answers to all of them, this is just for you to reflect on what you might want in the future. It's okay, no worries. That's completely fine. Mackenzie says that she forgot, and that's okay. So it's okay. I'm going to talk about my process in choosing a major and a minor next. So my major, as I explained before, is psychology. And I was just inspired by a lot of the experiences that I've had, such as working with other peers and other younger peers through mentorship programs and tutoring programs. I was also inspired by my own siblings to go into a niche area or a specialization of psychology, which I'll talk more about later, child and adolescent psychology. Um, I also was involved in research through my university. And so all of these interests led me to choose my major, which is psychology. So why did I choose my major? I chose psychology, which is the science of brain, mind, and behavior, because first of all, I'm very passionate about it. Just working with people in general makes me really happy. I also chose to major in psychology because of the different career options that are available. You can choose research or clinical application to specialize in. I'm also just very fascinated by the human brain and behavior. And lastly, I chose this because of the practicality of the major. There are a lot of transferable skills and a lot of different options. If you don't necessarily want to go into like clinical or research, you can also use psychology major in like in teaching settings, education settings, or school counseling. So there are a lot of different options. And so I also minor in child and adolescent mental health studies. And this is a subcategory of psychology, which concentrates on children and adolescents. The reason why I chose this minor is because it was compatible with my major. There are overlapping coursework or courses and topics. I also really just enjoyed this specialization, which can be very helpful in the long run if you decide you want to specialize in a certain field. I also chose this because I want to work with young people, as I described. And lastly, I chose this because of the variety. There are even more subcategories to explore under this subcategory of psychology. I also am minoring in creative writing because I love poetry and I love expressing creativity, which are definitely reasons I chose this major. I just appreciate art and appreciate reading other people's work. I really value creativity and the ability to self-reflect and to express oneself. I also appreciate that art can be a form of commentary, social or political or cultural, just a way to express your opinions in artistic ways. And I also I chose this major because it's just fun. It's something I enjoy, and I think that that's a really big takeaway from how both Gloria and I chose our areas of study, is that we just enjoy what we do.
Yes, definitely. So I I really like what you shared too. Like you minored into that's so nice. That you must be very busy at school. So now, like you, Mackenzie, you heard us like how we chose our majors, and I believe the reason you came here today is because you might confused about how to choose your major, how to identify what you're interested in. So here I'm gonna share you some methods to choose a major, and there's several steps, and we can do it together, and later on, you can share your answer with us. And if you're not comfortable with share the answer while we're recording this, I can stop recording while if when we share our answers together. So, but like first of all, we can just like say like walk through this whole step first. First, like to choose your major, first, I think the most important thing is to identify what you like and what you are passionate about. So you might want to list three things that you love, that you enjoy doing every day now. For example, for me, I really like when I was in high school, I really love learning languages. And when I was learning languages, I just feel like the time flies. I can spend the whole afternoon just like repeating what others saying, just imitating what they are saying. So that's one of my passions. When I was in high school, that's also one of the reasons why I chose to learn a foreign language. So you can list three things that you like. You can say like technology, painting, writing, or like that. So we'll have 2 minutes or 1 minute for this. After you wrote it down, you can type in the chat box and let us know we can move forward. Just give me a thumbs up. Yeah, great.
Can you
Awesome.
read them, Gloria?
Yeah, I saw the chat box right now. That's
Great.
awesome. Reading, learning, human sciences, writing. That's great. Yeah, and after we identify what we love to do, we can identify our strengths. The strength is different from can be the same, but it's a little bit different from what we like. Uh, for example, like me, I might like uh, learning new languages, but maybe my memory is so bad I can't like memorize. Others might take 5 seconds to memorize a word, but for me, it might take me like 5 minutes or 1 hour. So that's not my strength. But maybe I'm good at public speaking, so I can write my strengths as public speaking. But maybe you are interested in languages at the same time your memory is good. So you can see your strength is has a good memory while learning a new language. That will be a perfect combination and fit. So you can type your answers here as well. List three of your strengths. We can just we can either do like Mackenzie, you can just type in directly, or if you want more time, we can like you can give me a thumbs up. Like there is a button like automatically like this on the right corner. You can give us a thumbs up, and then we can move forward. Oh, great! I saw this language and arts. That's great, awesome. And later on, next step is to identify our weakness. Like I said before, I have a really bad memory. That's one of my weakness. So if I type in my answer here, I'll say bad memory, or uh, like I don't manage. I don't know how to manage my time. When I got a lot of things to do, I got so worried about time, and I worry about the deadline. So that's one. That can be another weakness of mine. So you can think about 2 to 3 weakness of yours and just to identify. But for the weakness part, it's okay. You don't need to share your answer. That's too sensitive for you. You can keep it yourself, and or you can share it. And just give me some answer in the chat box to see if you're gonna share it, or we can keep it our own.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm not good at playing music either. Like when I was in primary school, I tried so many musics. Like I tried drums, piano, and I even tried singing, but I gave it all up.
But that's so cool. At least you tried. And I'm also very bad at math, Mackenzie, so that's okay.
Yeah. So, uh, career goals, the last part. Career goals is very important, but maybe when you were young, like in high school, you might not know the importance of it. You might not know like your career goal because it's happening. It's gonna happen in 4 years or even 3 or even like 5, 8 years from when you choose your major. But the thing that you can do is to search online about uh, if you are interested in one major, you can say, okay, what kind of careers this major can do after they graduate. For example, if you love writing and you love being a writer, you can search like what positions is related to a writer. Maybe you can write for the New York Times. Maybe you can be a teacher, or maybe you can have your own blog and write your own writing things online, or be a freelancer to write for others. There are so many options. As long as you know what you love to do and you search online, you'll first know like what's the possibility there, and then later on you can do more research as you move forward. Yeah, so that's the whole step of how to choose your major. Of course, there are like more things that you need to consider along the way. So next, so like we shared our mind map. So here for the question part, you might have some questions for us, or you might don't know, like you might confused about the step or whatever. You can ask us here in this session, and we're very happy to answer any of the questions that you might have.